Johnny, sit over here.
I'm good. Good morning, class. Welcome to the other syndrome lesson. Today I'm going to be talking about a genetic disorder called Fragile X, or as I like to call it, the other syndrome. So, what is Fragile X syndrome? Well, let me start off by saying it is an X-linked dominant disorder, and that it is a repeat on the CGG trinucleotide triphosphate codon, and that it is linked to the FMRP1 gene, which is the Fragile X mental retardation protein 1, and that this protein is linked to brain cognitive function and development at early ages in the womb, and that the severity of this disorder comes in all shapes and sizes. Normally the FMR1 gene is from 15 to 45 CGG repeats. But with Fragile X syndrome, it can go from 55 to 200 for pre-mutations, which lead to mild symptoms. And from 200 plus, it can lead to several Fragile X-linked disorders and many other physical and mental disabilities. So it is located towards the end of at the end of the X chromosome, and it is usually really easily seen when you have the disorder. So, well, you might be wondering, what are some symptoms? What really makes Fragile X syndrome stand out? Well, quite frankly, I don't know where to start. Let me start. I guess it starts off in an early age where you have learning disabilities and you have really slow motor skill development. You develop choppy speech, and you even develop speech at a later age. But I think the most prominent feature of Fragile X syndrome has to be the elongation of the facial features of the jawline and the limbs. This happens towards pubescent years, so during the maturation process during the teens, you will experience normal featured children, and they will develop longer jaws, and their limbs will be abnormally long. Their hands may be able to reach to their knees at one point in severe cases. So, this leads me to raising a child with a full mutation, which I will begin to talk about in my next activity in more detail, and maybe we'll have a discussion right after.
Don't be snappy with us when you're the one that
I'm sorry.
Alright.
Yeah. So, any questions about the last section? No? Okay. Now that we finished the first mini lesson, let us move on to the first activity, revolving around hypersensitivity and the overloading of systems. In this simulation, I want to emulate the feeling of a person with Fragile X disorder, and how they feel in situations where things are ever changing, and there's just so many things going around them. So, let me grab one volunteer. You, ma'am, please just sit here, grab your chair, sit in the center of this open space. Sir, please stand up. I will have you walking around us. So, if at any moment in time you feel uncomfortable, please just say stop. Can you please move back a little bit further? Thank you. Okay, so begin moving. I'm going to ask you a series of questions now. You have to answer them as fast as you can. And as I said, if you feel uncomfortable, say stop. So, how was your day? How are you feeling? Is your family okay? Yeah. How's your dog? Have you been working out? You're looking a little thin. What is the color of your hair right now? Okay, is it raining outside? Do you notice the guy walking around? Am I bothering you? Are you feeling comfortable? Are you starting to get the point of this scenario? Okay. Okay, there may have been a little bit odds. I have not provided for that scenario. So, what was your feeling? What did you notice that anything? What did you feel really overloaded? Or was it
a little bit frustrating to not have the time to really process each question before there was another one being asked?
No, what do you think with a person with Fragile X disorder, which experiences that on a daily basis, on everything they do, with a full mutation, how do you think they would feel?
I think it'd be really hard. I think it'd be hard to be around other people at all.
Alright, so let's only have 5 minutes left in class, and I'm done with my lesson. Does anybody have any questions for clarification, and to bring up any discussions? Yes?
Are people affected with Fragile X syndrome like only being antisocial towards their, like towards everyone, or like can they be close to their family and stuff?
Well, I believe it's everybody from what my research has shown, and that people with Fragile X syndrome is the antisocial behavior shows in many ways. One of the biggest ways is eye contact. If you, a person with Fragile X syndrome will never make eye contact. Will just never look in your direction. Some people may think of this, looking with your eyes to the corner, that's still making eye contact. Fragile X syndrome will never make eye contact, will look away when making conversation, and should you force them, they exhibit severe anxiety and panic attacks. Any other questions? Yes, sir?
Is Fragile X syndrome life-threatening in any way?
So happily, no. It is not life-threatening, especially since of how high the rate is in the population in America. It is not life-threatening, and it has come to be a pretty widespread disorder. Yes, ma'am?
Do you know how many people are affected on average by Fragile X syndrome?
Yes, 1 in 3 to 500 males. Not one. Different sources have said different things. 1 in 800 females, and these are just for pre-mutations. Full-on mutations, which exude severe symptoms, are 1 in 1,500 for males and 1 in 3,000 for females. Any other questions? All right. So this concludes my class. If you guys would like to have a discussion with me, I'm available right after this. So please, feel free to talk. Anything else?